Alright, Lucky, I know that last video is quite long, and it might not seem really that applicable at this time, but it is, I promise, it really is. And I just noticed my angle's off a little bit, but who cares? You can see my hands, and you'll be able to hear me. That's what's important. Getting back to what we were covering, like I said too, there's really not a shortcut of more than just practicing, but the shortcut is practicing more with that 10,000 hour principle. The quicker you get there and the more you practice, the quicker you're going to develop the strength and the dexterity and get the finger strokes down and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a frustration thing in a way, but it teaches you discipline, and then the sense of accomplishment comes of after you've learned it, and then you're flying, it's like, oh man, yay, woo, you're having more fun. You're able to pull more sounds out of your kit because you have that good stick control. Also, we kind of think of our drums as like a color palette, and like these are your paint brushes. If you think about it like that, like a visual thing, like, I don't know, say your snare's red or orange, right? Like that's a bright color, right? Then maybe this is like, like the next darkest, like a yellow, and then you got, your red. Got a purple, I don't know, that kind of thing. So that way you're kind of approaching it as using your drums as kind of your color palette, and then going to that to kind of mix your colors and create your textures and that kind of stuff. So I know it's an obscure way of looking at it, and I have some silly ways of looking at things, but it's been described to me that way by some really big cats that kind of approach that way and how they develop it. And it really is a top-down process. Like, if you go into playing a fill like with no plan, you're just like, oh, I hope this works out and I hope I come in on beat 1 on time. Most of the time that doesn't work out. So a lot of times you want to have musical fills. Like, a lot of drummers, you just think like tons of chops and tons of noise. Oh, the more I can play shows off like how much I know and how well I can play my instrument. Well, yeah, in a way. But the thing is that it's a musical conversation, and there's space for a reason, right? And the space between the notes is just as important as the notes themselves, because that's what creates the patterns for the drums. And then the space that the band creates, that leaves space for, say, like the guitarist to do his thing or her thing, and then the pianist to do their thing. That kind of thing. So if you're taking up all the space and cluttering up all the space all the time, then there's no place for the space for all the other, voices to be heard in the conversation. So kind of going back to that call and response theme of like, so giving the call of like maybe the guitarist does da 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 da, and then you do da, something like just matching like the musical fill instead of just like, obviously just playing crazy on purpose. But you don't want to be cluttering things up. That kind of stuff. So that's why it's so important to learn those things in the stick control and your sense of time right away, because that will help you not rush, and then will also help the evenness of your notes, which is what we're trying to cover, right? So honestly, practicing your single strokes will bring you better doubles. So if you practice your singles and see I'm bringing everything to the same height, right? Because that's going to give you the same type of evenness of notes. Like I said in the last, if I'm playing one up here, right? Then once it's lopsided, right? Or it's the same thing with your doubles. Like if you're coming down with hard velocity with one hand but light velocity with the other, they'll sound uneven. Now, there are times where that's appropriate and the music calls for that, okay? Where you're doing, I was playing in the Purdy Shuffle, it's called the Purdy Shuffle, but we're doing open stroke rights and closed stroke lefts, that kind of a thing. So there are times when that's applicable, okay? But before you get there, you really want to train slow, and remembering that those open strokes are going to allow you to play faster, okay? So, again, I'm going to go through the forearm and slow, okay? So that way, if you want to try to play it along with me, that'd be cool, because then that way, and also if you set yourself to a metronome, because I've just gotten used to keeping my pulse with my left foot, just because that's what builds your independence up, is being able to play. And then whatever you do with your hands on tops, you know, but that's called our ostinato pattern underneath, and you want that to remain consistent no matter what you're playing on top. And that's what the independence part is. So, you know, because a lot of times when you're first starting, it's like your right hand wants to do what your right foot's doing. You know, and we call that a stutter. So I was showing you the dotted eighth tied to a 16th in the last video, which is the 1E and up, 1E and up. And it's really easy to do a stutter at first if you're playing an eighth note pattern with that, because your hand's up in the air when you're coming down with that dotted eighth tied to a 16th. 1E and up, 1E and up, 1E and up. So a lot, at first, people will do 1E and up, you know, like 1E and up, that kind of thing of a stutter of like 1E and up, 1E and up, you know, we call that a stutter kind of thing, because you want to match at the beginning. So you want to really, that's what I mean by independence, okay? So going back to this, we're doing really slow singles, 1 bar, and let's do 2 bars this time, okay? Because it'll give you a longer time of getting to it and then increasing your speed with it, okay? And allow you to warm up a little more first too, okay? So counting 2 bars would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E doubles. 1E, 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E diddle. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a single. 2 doubles, you know, so that way you're keeping it. See, I'm keeping my pulse with that, and then I'm just marking the bars with my bass drum. So when you hear the bass, I'm basically just marking, you know, 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 2E and then you switch and 1E, and so that's what I was doing with that, okay? So remembering starting nice and slow. And you can start with playing staccato notes, a nice touch first, and then you can, remembering that bringing your sticks up and high, because once you approach that faster speed, you can't really bring your sticks up this high and come down that hard. I mean, you can once you get the dexterity, but it's harder to play even doubles the faster you go and stay loose with it too, okay? So now we'll go up to, it was slow to about medium tempo. Now let's try it at a medium-ish to fastest tempo, okay? Or not to fastest, but faster tempo, okay? So then next, if we count off, and you always want to count off, and I'm doing that with my hi-hat, so sorry I didn't count off my sticks last time, okay? But this time, so the other one was at 1E and a 2E and a 3E. So if we counted our downbeats, it would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a... Okay, so then now our medium tempo, let's do 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2. So see the difference in the pulse? Okay, so I'll count off like that first. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a singles 1E, you know, back to that again, okay? And you keep doing that in a rotation till you just get faster with it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, you know, then you just get faster and faster with it, but you don't want to go to that maximum if you're not at, you know, at that top speed. And you'll know what your top speed is. And it's by no means is it like a slight against, we all have our top speed. I have my top speed that, you know, I'm working on, but the way that you get faster hands is through that repetition of it, and just that nice motion of single strokes will bring that to you too, because going just to the doubles approach and nice and slow, okay? So remembering it's not a wrist stroke, wrist, you know, because then it takes more strength, it's going to be lopsided, that kind of thing. stay nice and loose, you know, and remember how I was showing the Weckl grip. But even if you don't do that, you want to see this nice kind of like space in there. If you're holding like that and you see no space in there, then you know you have a tension in kind of a wrong spot. Or if you start to feel pain in a certain spot, then you know that you've got to fix your grip or your technique's off in some way, kind of thing. Okay. So with the doubles and the open doubles, slow approach. Remember, it's wrist fingers. So see, my wrist isn't coming all the way back twice. I'm doing. So that second stroke, and I know it's kind of hard. I can actually do one in slow-mo too. That might be better to help to show the technique part or the actual, you know, slow part of where the fingers are picking up. But it really is a wrist, fingers, okay? And then you can play, it's called a drop pickup, of the drop pickup, drop pickup, drop pickup. So there's different ways of playing doubles, but I highly, highly suggest you start with just the opens, okay? You know, you can just get faster and faster, and then by building up your hands to the open strokes as fast as you can go, that will increase your speed greatly, just overall, because you're building up the muscles, and you know, that's why people practice on pillows, all sorts of, because it's all within your hands then. Then you have no rebound to work with, so it's all within the way that your technique is manipulating the sticks, okay? So here we are now at 11 minutes, okay? So I'll just go a little bit longer. I'm terrible about rambling on, but I want to explain thoroughly why, you know, we go through these things and do these approaches, okay? So again, let's do this too. Quarter notes, eighth notes, and sixteenths. This is really going to help just as a general warm-up, okay? So remember, in quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Sixteenths, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and up. Okay? Now for the warm-up, I'll do 2 bars of each, okay? So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 2 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2. Okay, that's a great warm up. Just so you cover your note values. Now I'll teach you one. This one's pretty famous too. We call it 8-4-2 exercise. So you're doing 8 strokes in each hand, 4 strokes in each hand, and then 2 strokes in each hand twice. So that's the only kind of hitch to the thing, is that at the end you're doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you're doing 2 twice, okay? But it helps you get that the multi-bounce and the Moeller method all playing, you know, and that way you'll just play fast and see. That's what I meant by playing with your fingers too. You can kind of get faster stroke, you know, no matter how, and I'm rotating my, you know, hands in space, but you can kind of maintain those going just by the way that you're positioning, okay? So, going back to that, 8-4-2. So, I like to just count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see that, like, that's how you're going to build up your hand speed. Starting nice and slow to medium to then fast, and never exceeding your maximum, because that's the way you practice is the way you're going to play, 100%. So if you practice from the get-go with bad technique or that kind of stuff, and based on your comments and stuff, it sounds like you're doing a really great job. So I'm not saying that you're doing these things. I'm just saying that that's why you don't want to do these things. Because it's really going to help you have that evenness of notes, okay? So, because when you get to your close and your buzz rolls, and I know that that's kind of what you want to get to, and you're playing faster and even with that. And that it really, because it's kind of less effort to do. You're letting the sticks do all the work, kind of thing, right? You're letting the sticks bounce, and you can still play open stroke kind of like that too. So see how my fingers are still manipulating the back, even though I'm doing just a nice. So you can still do that. It just depends on if you're, legato. But see, the faster I get, you can't raise it as high because it takes longer for the stick to come down, right? Unless you're using so much velocity, and then that will make you tired. So it's kind of finding like that fine balance of, not getting tired, but playing, evening, playing quick, staying relaxed, not exceeding your maximum, and making sure that you're able to sustain it for however long that part of the song may be, or that kind of thing. So. And to answer your question about the reading to play the songs, not at all. So, but once you learn how to identify, so see, that's why there's a method to my madness, I promise, okay? So once you learn how to identify the patterns and what you're hearing in the songs, it'll be easy for you to play the songs. Because then that way you'll just be like, oh, the bass is on, okay, it's usually on beat 1, right? So let's say you're just thinking of like, even Michael Jackson's Beat It. We got that Michael Jackson with famous, pattern. That rock pattern, 1 and 3 on the bass, 2 and 4 on the snare is used in so much stuff. So it's a. I actually was playing different, but the primary pattern of that, he uses that in so many songs, so many songs. But being able to play that, and so you're just identifying, oh, it's okay, so when I hear so I'm just, giving you an example of another figure, so that would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and so you can just kind of count it in a different way of how, whatever you're counting in the pattern you play. And that's why we simplify patterns a lot of the time too, because a lot of times, the student's not up to the playing speed of playing at that tempo or playing the exact pattern. So we'll just simplify it, but or in AC/DC, like Back in Black's got that, or every AC/DC song basically has that pattern, right? But you can think of Back in Black, it has that little, but it's still just 1 and 3 on the bass, 2 and 4 on the snare. So anyway, just giving you an example of how those are used in tons of songs. So once you've got that primary foundation, then you can start playing the more complex ones on that are down there, like the dotted 8th tied to the 16th one. Playing more complex patterns, but it's because you've got that muscle memory going up here. Most of the time you're going to come down on 2 and 4 until you start experimenting with ghost notes, all of that stuff, okay? So, and playing on different surfaces is obviously going to give you a different amount of rebound. So I'd highly suggest that you experiment with different surfaces, not always with the pad. You can play on a pillow. Pillow on your lap, just like, couch pillow, whatever. You could play on a chair with the padding, just don't bust through the top of the chair. Playing on a sofa, like the sofa behind me. All sorts of stuff. So that way you're getting, different amounts of rebound and control within your hands, and then using that nice loose grip. So even if you're playing doubles in the air, wrist, fingers, wrist, fingers, wrist, fingers, wrist, fingers. Same thing, But those evenness of strokes, how high you bring your sticks up, how hard you bring them down, remember we call that velocity. And then the trick to making them even is the right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Because if you lag just a second on your non-dominant hand, or you rush on your dominant hand, that will make them sound uneven. So that's why it's so important to, and you want to keep them at that until you've got that nice and locked in, then go to the next tempo kind of thing. And practicing to a metronome. It's always great. Because your notes are either going to sound like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, if you're counting eighths, or you're going to be counting them as 16ths. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Okay? So, and it's good to practice them all, in different ways. You can do that quarter note, eighth note, and 16th warm-up that I did. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2, that one that I did. You can do the same thing with doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E back to 1, 2, 3, 4. So see, I'm just doing 2 strokes on each hand, but using the same warm-up. So trying to give you ideas of how you can practice these things in different ways. And bam, we're at 20 minutes again. Gosh, I'm just terrible at this. But it's important to me, and you're taking it so seriously, and you're very engaged with it, and that means the world to me, dude. So thanks for being a part of it, and I said that I would try to take it a little bit slower, so that's what I did, but it obviously is going to make a longer video, right? So, okay. Thanks, Lucky, and again, just please let me know if you have any questions or that kind of stuff. But the patterns I showed you, the reading, that stuff, you can practice all that on your pad. Totally, bro. You can practice all that on your pad. Just because you don't have your kit yet doesn't mean you can't prepare yourself for when you're going to have your kit. That kind of thing, So, nice, man. I'm already super proud of you, and that's so awesome you're getting a kit for Christmas. And, man, I'm so, I'm envious almost, just like, you're getting a kit. Cool, man. I'm just, share the joy, I'm not envious, I shouldn't say. But I'm like, yeah, he's getting a kit, I feel grateful for, for you, and grateful for the fact that you're getting a kit. That's so cool. And really, it opens up so many doors you would never expect that it would. It really does. It really does. All right, buddy. Long video, but there you go. And appreciate you. Thanks for being a part of all of it. And you've been a great sub, and great new sub, and I've appreciated everything that you've said and done, and all the feedback and all that. And it brings me joy to, be able to come out here and just, in different periods of time and do these type of videos. And if you enjoy them, and it's awesome. Super great. All right, man. Take care. Happy drumming. And I can't wait till you get that drum set. That's going to be super cool. And don't be afraid to email me. We can, talk that way too. And I can even shoot you my phone number. We can talk through text or something like that through email if you'd like, okay? All right, buddy. Have a great one, and I'll see you on the next video. And again, thank you everyone for the 100 subs. Super cool. I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Love you. Bye.